I swear life is against me. We can but hope that this time is the time that I'm actually going to manage to teach you to roller skate. We shall see. All right, I've got a detachable camera. That's not the best picture, but we'll see how we go. I'm going to pop you there for now. Okay. Warmest of welcomes to the Skate Sanctuary. I have got my roller skates, and I'm sure if you're excited about you maybe the start of the year when you've made a New Year's resolution, you've got your skates, you're thinking this year's going to be my year, let's go. Oh, my picture's glitchy now. Come on YouTube, it's going to be fine. Actually, this is your year where you are going to learn to roller skate. You're going to live your best life. You've got those skate dreams where you're going to be out chilling, roaming the paths in the summer. And maybe you've already tried and you've put your skates on outdoors and you thought, great, I've had a go. Realized it's much harder than you intended. That's not great, is it? It's never a great realization when it's actually much harder than you intended. So I'm going to walk you through the complete program that we would support our level 1 skaters. And level 1 for us at the Skate Sanctuary is an additional part of the program that not everybody needs. Maybe let's put it differently, that not everybody wants, but we find that your nervous system needs, particularly if you are an adult coming back to find your own joy and you are regaining some agency and independency and over your life. Maybe you've got older kids, lots of things could be going on. You've just decided that this year is your year and you're choosing to take time back for yourself. That's a really, really common story, and that's why we say we're here for skaters who are proper grown-ups, adults over 40. If we've not met before, my name is Mel. I'm 48 at the moment, 49 later this year, and I'm very excited to be in this space in our studio in Leeds, where we teach people to roller skate every single day. So level 1 is where we would start, and it's what I consider an absolute beginner, somebody who might have very high fear or anxiety, or somebody who's maybe had an injury, or they know somebody who had a skate-related injury, because that will have built a set of limiting beliefs in your head that you might be completely unaware of until you put one of these on. And that's the problem. Now, the approach that we use at level 1 is actually the same for children and adults, because we do a couple of kids lessons per week. In my previous life, I was a primary school teacher, and essentially, like, it's the same approach. The language that we use with adults and children is obviously different, but our kids sessions start from age 7. And what we often see is that the millennials who will come in of that age of child will sit in our shop area. They'll be observing their children. They don't actually want to try skating for themselves. It's Gen X who are the people that want to try skating for themselves. So I feel that Gen X, we've got the kids who are older, usually, making gross generalizations. Some people obviously don't have children, and that's completely fine. But it's okay, whatever your choice is, whatever your reason is for coming to roller skating. Our approach doesn't necessarily resonate with everybody. It is a very gentle approach. But if you need this, then maybe it's something that you've not considered before, and you've not realized how your nervous system works, and actually how much it can work against you, because it's trying to keep you safe. And putting these on your feet, you're putting wheels on your feet which are slippery and slidey, and your body will feel extremely unsafe, because for this many years in your life, all you've ever known is the grounded feeling of your feet on the floor. So let's begin. I'm actually going to put these down. We're not going to need them just yet. I'm going to stand a little bit further away from you. Okay. Nope. See if we can tip you up a wee bit more. Great. Okay. So with my feet flat on the floor, no problem, right? You're like, how can we even do a roller skate lesson without skates on, Mel? What are you talking about? Well, what I want you to understand, first of all, is the principle of movement. Okay. So we're starting with a very grounded feeling on the floor, our toes pointing forwards as if we were walking. And what I want you to notice is actually your shoulders, your hips, your knees, and your toes. There's a song like that, right? Actually, you are facing forwards. When you start walking, your arms might be gently swinging, your shoulders are not really moving around, your knees are going forwards, and your feet stay in line. Okay, this is something you'll obviously completely take for granted. So I'm asking you to go back and overthink what is happening in your body. If I ask you to stand on one leg, usually not a problem. You'll just balance on one leg, lift the other one in the air, no problem. Feet are on the floor, easy. If I ask you to do that with one roller skate on, it's going to feel different, right? Let's now look at the skating position, which is our feet need to be turned out in a V. If you've got ballet experience, maybe that's useful. I didn't have it and I've still learned to roller skate, so don't stress, okay? So with our feet in a V, now, if I pick my feet up, can you see how my body's swaying? That's because where your knee is pointing, it's now pointing outwards instead of forwards, pointing to the side. Your weight transfer is different. So if I ask you to stand on one leg, you're going to soften that knee and bend it ever so slightly so that you can maintain balance on this leg. That is going to allow you to push the other foot out and put it down so that you can transfer your weight, push this foot out and put it down. So skating asks for a very different movement in your body. It's asking you to transfer your weight in a much bigger way, right? Because my shoulders are moving a lot more than if I'm walking. And it's going to feel to your nervous system like you're falling over. You're always falling from one side back to the other side, right? To the other side. So if you're on your roller skates and you find the shifting in your weight actually very challenging, you might be very hesitant to do that. So what happens is you'll shift a little bit, your foot will go wider, and then you won't shift enough. So you kind of gradually end up with wider feet. But now to get my body weight over this leg, I've got to bend the leg and lean all the way out to here so that I've got no weight on that leg. And that feels too far. It's also like really quad intensive. So it's too far for your body to go all the way out to this side, which is why we kind of start a little bit closer. So if you find that happening where you're like, my feet are going out though, and I don't feel safe to really lean all the way across, it's because in the beginning you're not leaning enough. Okay, so this sway like a pendulum, absolutely fine in shoes. The minute you put skates on, it's going to feel very different. So with adults learning to roller skate, and it's true with children as well, but it's definitely more common with adults, you have a fear of usually two things. It usually comes back to one of these two things. You either fear of falling, or you've got a fear of judgment of others, or it might be a combination of both. So let's say you're worried about falling over in public. It might be because you don't want to be embarrassed. That's judgment of others. Or you don't want to make a fool of yourself. That's judgment of others. You don't want to hurt yourself. That's a fear of falling. And all of these fears are extremely valid concerns. I'm not here to dismiss any of the fears and say that, oh, you shouldn't have those. That's absolutely not true. Your fears are completely valid, right? Roller skating is a very risky activity. You are making yourself intentionally taller by putting wheels on your feet and more wobbly but it is in the harnessing of how do you control the wheels that the transformation occurs. So you are going into this knowing that you're going to be terrible at something, because when you have no experience, you will be terrible, and that's normal and okay. It's true of anything. So you can apply that to anything. If you have no experience of painting, your very first paintings are going to be awful. If you have no experience of content creation, probably your first experience of content creation is going to be dreadful. If you have no experience of writing stories, probably your first ones were really bad. And if we use an example like writing, then I think about how many years it took for you to learn how to harness control over the fingers, the muscles in your fingers, your hand, your wrist, so that you can write in a way that is legible and communicate with other people. So now you are trying to control your entire body, like your full muscles and skeleton, in a way that you are not used to. Just let that sit with you for just a second. And it's going to be about now that somebody's going to pop up on my live and tell me there's no sound, Mel. Like, I can't wait. I'm here for it already. Okay, let's go. If, however, you can hear this, I would always appreciate something in the chat just to go like, we can hear you, because honestly, the last few times I've tried to do live videos, it's just I've had to kind of call them short because something or another has been an issue. Anyway, back to the content. So the first thing that we're actually going to tackle is how to fall safely. But before we can do that, we need some lovely protective gear, because I don't know about you, but the last time I fell over, not on purpose, it hurt. So if I'm going to do an activity where I know falling over is inevitable, I'm going to protect myself. Thanks very much. Right. So we have, because I've been doing this a lot recently, I've actually got my really chunky S1 knee pads, but you do not need a knee pad this big. And there is usually more than one way of putting these on, but these have got a butterfly closure on the back, which means I can just strap them around my legs without needing to put my whole leg through. Okay. Okay, and I've got a little back on here. Most knee pads are slightly different. I'll show you the other ones, the other styles that we have. Some just have no additional straps around them. They don't have like what I would call a sleeve. They don't have that for you to put your leg through. I think the better varieties are the ones where you can put them on and take them off without needing to take your skates on and off. Just it is annoying if you have to constantly take on and off your skates, or you change your mind later. And I will say that everybody who comes to the roller skating will go, I don't need the pads on, and then change their mind because the floor hurts. So let's look at these pads. These ones are really common. This is a different brand. Oh, I'm black on black. Let me stand to one side. There we go. So these are a really common pad. They're not super thick, sorry. Mine are much thicker. And it's because I've been falling over multiple times a day. And like I say, it's like, I just want to protect my knees. They've got a hard outer, there's a foam on the inner, and then they've got this sleeve so you can put your whole leg through, and then a Velcro strap. So if you wanted to, you could just put it over the top. You pull the Velcro strap round, and the writing usually goes at the top, okay? You can also get an elbow pad that is a smaller version of this, and then you get the wrist guard. And I would strongly recommend, if you've got zero experience, put them all on. If you have got, or you're feeling a bit more confident, then definitely put on the knee pads and the wrist guards. I would say they are an absolute minimum. You can put on elbows if you want to, and I apologize, I'm not putting them on today because I've got like loads of clothes on. So We have got a set of wrist pads here. And again, they come in more than one style, but this one is what we would call a double splint design. And it's got this curvy part of plastic. This goes on the palm. We see people all the time putting them on like backwards, like this, so that this goes on the back of the hand, and it doesn't. It goes on the palm. I normally then hold it so that my thumb is up, and then I pull the elastic strap around and stick it on. Okay. They should be comfortable, not cutting off your circulation. So if you do feel that it's a little bit too tight, then just loosen it off. And they're designed to hold your wrist straight so that you can't do this. Because if you don't want to fall over and put your hand straight down like that, boom, what normally happens is people fall back and they put their hand down, and then these tiny little bones in your wrist are the ones that will get broken. You might not even be aware of it straight away. So suggested that is that you're actually going to put your wrist pads on. So here we go with the wrist pads. Right, and now we can clap them. Yay! Give yourself a little round of applause because you've managed to put your wrist pads on. Okay, so we've got our knees and wrists. Now, again, we are not used to wearing these pads, right? In our everyday lives, we're not used to wearing them. So they're going to feel a little bit restrictive on your body at the moment, and that's okay. You will see the value of them shortly. So the first thing that I might do, and it depends, if I'm working with a client one-to-one, and I have had people cry before, by the way, because they really want to do this and they've kind of built it up in their head so that it is such a big deal. They kind of can't get past the fear, but they really want to get past the fear. So you're kind of in this loop of self-frustration. But I don't want you to beat yourself up. What I'm going to encourage you to do instead is still with no roller skates on, just get down onto the floor and just spend a couple of minutes, maybe 30 seconds, just putting your pads and tapping your hands on the floor and going, I can safely say 100% of the time, everybody who has done this has been surprised by how protective the pads actually are and how good it feels to get into this position. Okay, so how we actually fall, and again, in our level 1 learn to roller skate course, we actually spend time doing this. Everybody in the session does this with shoes on, right? We put our pads on, then we practice falling over. So what I want you to do is you're going to have your hands out in front of you, roughly shoulder height or just below. Okay, not here. So shoulder height or just below. What I want you to imagine is that you're holding something very precious and you are going to put it down safely, right? If you drop the thing, see how my hands are going to drop. It's actually going to tip your chest and shoulders forwards and the thing is going to fall off. It also means that you're probably always going to end up falling over. Whereas if you have your hands and your shoulders forward, in the future, as you gain better core control and balance in general, you're going to do this and you'll actually hopefully stay on your feet. So this is worth practicing. It is still quite hard to do, right? It's still quite hard to do. And the first time you do it, you'll be going, right? And again, with shoes, it's fine. So this is also a really great warm-up, by the way. It is a split squat essentially, but try and hold your core nice and tight, not like sucking it in, but just hold your core tight and a couple of little lunges, knee taps, if you like, pop your knee on the floor. So that is a great way to get warmed up and to start to trust your pads. All of what we do in our level 1 is designed to help you relax. Because if you are not relaxed, you are not going to bend your knees. If you do not bend your knees, you are not roller skating. It is simply not happening. And I don't want that for you. I want you to succeed as best as you can. So now I want you to go and get your roller skates. We're going to put just one skate on. I do not mind which one. Go grab them. We should be right back. Okay, I'm very much assuming we have got both sound and video today, because normally in a live, I've done like, 40 minutes of a live before, and then someone's gone, by the way, Mel, you've got no sound. Ugh. And there's no way of getting it back at that point. It just means that my equipment's having a minor failure. Okay, so I've got my skate. And as I said, we're going to put one roller skate on. So this is my approach if you are very anxious as a roller skater, because a lot of people are surprisingly worried about it, but you're curious enough that you want to have a go and you want to start. So this is my method. I've used it with hundreds of people now successfully to get them to their end goal of learning to roller skate and being able to skate at a roller disco faster than how I used to do it previously, which was let's put two skates on and go. What I've found with this method is that if you can bring your nervous system back into regulation, you'll relax faster. As I said, your breathing will regulate, the oxygen will be moving around your body properly, cortisol levels lowered, adrenaline levels lowered, and actually you won't be in like a constant alert state of fight, flight, freeze. And it also means that the parachute reflex, that sort of startle reflex that you might have, is the chance of that is also lessened. So all of these things, you might think, oh, this is a bit ridiculous. Why am I scooching around on one roller skate? There's a reason for it. Okay. As I say, I have taught hundreds of people to roller skate now successfully, I believe, in that they have left with more confidence and skill than they came with. So that's great. And yeah, they've gone on to do all kinds of things with their roller skate journey. Not everyone has lofty roller skate goals. Okay. You don't need to have a lofty roller skate goal. You don't need to think, I want to do skate park, humongous things. I want to play competitive roller derby. It doesn't matter. Why ever you want to roller skate does not matter. What is important is that you do want to do it, because it is difficult, and because it's such a steep initial learning curve and you can't get away by not falling over. If you don't really want to do it, if you're like your mate is dragging you along, I don't know, you might not stick it for the long term, is what I'm saying. I mean, you might fall in love with it. I hope so, but just try and think about the reason that you want to have a go and try not to be swayed by other people. Okay, I'm just going to scooch over here. Right. And yes, I do have light-up wheels, and yes, it's very much enjoyable. So I've got one roller skate on, and as we said at the very beginning, when we are moving, we have to have all of our weight on one leg. Okay. And that means when our feet are in a V, we're leaning out to the side. Now, the action on wheels, the skate actually tips a little bit from side to side. So it's not like being in shoes. It does feel different. And that's why this method means that you can pick your foot up and put it straight back down. So what we commonly see is that I'll say, right, we're going to put one skate on and we're just going to kind of hop around and get used to the idea that we're rolling. Right? This is how it feels. At the moment, can you see my weight is central to my body? I'm not really leaning enough to hold it here. So what I ask people to do is, can you count and how long can you balance for on this one leg? One. Not even one, not quite one. One. So not one. When I land, when I put my foot back on the floor, I also want you to touch the knee that has got the skate on with both of your hands without looking, right? Most people are like this. They'll look down at their knee and check where it is. I want you to go up, come down, touch it without looking at it. You know where your knee is. You know where it is. Down and down. Okay? And gradually, you're going to keep doing this until you can count to 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I do not mind how fast or slow you count. I'm not bothered, right? It's up to you. What I will encourage you to do is to practice falling over with one skate on. It sounds a bit ridiculous, but I want you to imagine that tray that you're holding and practice putting something down, because when you've got wheels on, it happens a lot faster, and I need your body to have an automated response to how you fall. Okay, right. When we get back up again as well, I've not really talked through this. When we get back up, we're putting our hands on our leg above the knee, closer on your mid thigh, and you're going to lean forward and imagine yourself going up. So where will your head end? A 1, 2, 3, push and up. And if you can't do that yet, because I know I definitely could not, then you're going to use furniture to help you up or something else to just try and pull yourself up. Try not to clamber up or stick your hips above your knees too much, because it's going to tip your balance forward and you'll just end up toppling forward. So I would suggest you're trying to keep your upper body up as much as you can. Sorry. You're trying not to get your shoulders and your hips kind of in line. I sometimes see people get up like this and it just looks a bit sketchy. Okay, it's quite hard to stack your weight and like stack your spine back up so that you get full alignment. Now this part, how long is a piece of string? How long does it take? It's up to you. It could take 5 minutes. It could take 10. Commonly in our level 1 classes, having one roller skate on, we might spend half an hour with this foot or the other foot. And I do strongly recommend that you are going to take it in turns with one roller skate and then take that one off and swap, and you're going to do the other one, because you have got a dominant side and a non-dominant side, and I want you to know which is which. If you don't already know, you probably won't already know, because it won't necessarily be the same as the dominant hand. So it is worth trying separately just to know how it feels. Okay, and so you're going to do that exercise where you're balancing. You're going to go up with your arms and down and have 2 hands on your knee so that you're bringing your shoulders slightly forward. Let's just have a quick chat about shoulder position relative to your hips, and then we'll get going with our 2 skates on, because I am going to miss out the other step. You can definitely do that for yourself. And in the meantime, cheers, folks, because it seems like the audio and visual is working okay today, so that's exciting for me. Okay, and also, we're proud in Yorkshire. If Yorkshire Tea ever decide to sponsor us, I would be happy about that. Right. Shoulder position. I'm going to have to take this off, I think. Let's put this on here. Okay. So, shoulder position. There we go. Fling that over there. When I'm standing upright, my shoulders are above my hips and above my heels. Let's go that way so you can actually see. Above my hips and above my heels. What often happens if we are leaning back, and we'll see this with small children who lean on their parents. The parents are behind them and they're scooping them like this, and the child is like leaning on them like this. So where I've got my shoulders behind my hips, it is highly likely I'm going to fall over backwards, right? My feet are going to slip out from under me and I'm going down. Very highly likely. If my shoulders are above my hips and I am an inexperienced roller skater, also highly likely that I'm going to fall backwards. So the only safe position is to have my shoulders in front of my hips. So when the cue of touch your knees, it's getting you to bend your knees and also put your shoulders in front of your hips so that you're down and you're safe. Because if you were to overbalance from this position, you just go down onto the front of your pads. We're trying to avoid banging our coccyx and the back of our head, okay? But again, anytime you're like very worried about all of those things, please put all the safety gear on. We do actually have padded shorts. That is a thing. We do not hire them. Sorry, you got to buy your own. And we do have helmets. Helmets are absolutely for things that are more risky. Anytime you're doing jumping for the first time, for example, definitely worth putting one on. Okay, so let's say we're still scaffolding and you are somebody that has zero roller skate experience. What would I do next? Well, this might surprise you. I would actually whip out a yoga mat. Yes, indeed. And I would get you to stand on this mat. And if you've never done that in roller skates, probably wouldn't be doing this, but if you've never done that in roller skates, it's quite grippy. And actually, that's really calming for your nervous system because we're now going back to a feeling that is more like walking in shoes where the ground is not slipping and sliding away from you. And that is a nice feeling for your nervous system. So we're trying to help ourselves feel safe. But by the time we've got two skates on, I will always say to the folks who are in our classes, if this does not make you feel safe, you have permission, you don't need my permission, but you have it, to take off one of your roller skates and just go back to scooting with one so that you are building up the knowledge and the feeling of having one skate on and you're just working on your balance. That's okay, right? So the first thing that we would always do is practice falling over because as we know, it happens really fast. And now because we have raised our center of gravity, we're taller than we were, you're literally seeing the world from a higher world view. So if you were a kid and you had an early growth spurt, people would have gone, oh, you're so tall, what's it like up there? Right? You might have found that you were quite clumsy, you kept walking into things. I know I was. And it was I built stories around that because, oh, well, if I'm really clumsy and I'm walking into things, I'm probably not going to be very good at things that require precision, that require lots of skill. Obviously, that's not true, but I've allowed that story to control parts of my life for way too long. So we need to start dismantling those as soon as possible. But if you're up here and you're thinking, wow, I don't like this, it doesn't feel safe, then we need to practice getting ourselves to the floor. If you cannot do the falling practice and roll one foot away, if your body is just absolutely frozen and you're too scared, then you've got an overwhelming fear response, then take yourself down to the floor and reverse engineer it. So you're going to put your hands on your knees, walk your fingers all the way down to the floor, right? And we're down now. And then we're going to put one foot up, one foot down, as we were previously, and we're going to push on our leg. And again, if we cannot actually get up, because as I say, when I first put roller skates on, I could not move, could not get up, could not sit on the floor, I just couldn't do anything. And I couldn't go forward either. My first experience was traumatic, to say the least. But anyway, if we can't get up, then we are going to need to use something else, use some furniture. But if we can get up, we're going a 1, 2, 3, push, and we're going to stand up, okay? If we're on a mat and we're scaffolding this, we put one foot on, one foot off, and then we've got a fixed foot in place to practice falling onto the knee, okay? But finally, we actually want to practice the swaying. So, two things that people will say to you in terms of this is what you need to do to learn to roller skate. Look where you're going, bend your knees. Yes, that is absolutely true. You do need to do both those things, look where you're going and bend your knees. They are not at all possible when you're starting. If you are an absolute beginner with zero experience of learning to roller skate, then looking where you're going is not possible because your eyes are your dominant sense. So we are asking your body to put your feet in a V position. Your eyes are not going to believe that your feet are in a V position unless you're looking at your feet and checking. And if you're looking at your feet and checking, your head is tipping you forward and it's kind of curving your back and you're not going to be in an optimum position. So you ideally want to have your eyes looking forward. And if you can't look fully forward, just try and go forward and down as if you were laid on the floor in front of you and you're like looking at where your head would be, like the shadow. So that's an optimal position to start looking in. Really difficult though. Let's just check for battery. Yeah, we're good. The second thing, bend your knees. No, I don't think so. You cannot bend your knees unless you are relaxed. And because we are asking your body to do something that it's not used to doing, it is perceiving a threat to your life. Whether real or not, your body actually has the same response and it reacts in the same way. So you are going to be overwhelmed with all of these additional I can't think of the word, chemicals in your body, which means that you can't actually do anything. You might be literally frozen in fear and your knees are definitely not going to bend. If anything, they're going to straighten, ready to run away. But what's going to happen if you straighten? Your weight goes back, you fall backwards. And then you decide that you're terrible at roller skating because it hurts. Never again shall you attempt this terrifying activity. Okay, so feet in a V. We're going to do this wobble, 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 wobble. So we need to feel our shoulders shifting from side to side to know that we are actually moving our body weight correctly. Okay, and then once we've done that, we can go up and down the mat. We can even have one foot on and one foot off. As long as we're trying to not look at the mat, we are looking where we're going. Okay, you can try it on both sides, one foot on, one foot off. And then when you're ready, and this is up to you in your own sweet time, right? And what I want more than anything is for you to have the permission to go at a pace that is right for you, not for me, not for anybody else, not for social media, don't care. Just go at a pace that's right for you, your nervous system, your life experience, because I don't know what that is. Often people are coming to class, it's the first time we've met. And we have a small group, it's only a small group in this space because it's really important to us to get to know people on an individual level. We can't do that in a big group. So small group is the way, and that connection is vital for you as well, because then you're going to actually forge links. And a lot of people come to skate class because they are pushing themselves out of their comfort zone. They want to make new friends. And you can't do that in a big group. It's really difficult. So you're going to wobble, 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 wobble. Let's say that you are feeling like you're going too fast. What are we going to do? We're going to touch our knees, okay? We're going to touch our knees and we're just going to stop moving our feet. Sometimes when I tell people to do this, bring that over there for a sec, they'll go, okay, I'm going to touch my knees, and they're going to keep on stepping like this. Stop moving your feet and you will slow down. You'll slow down to a stop. Touching your knees, again, is designed to bend your knees and bring your eye level back to a height that you're more accustomed to. And if it all goes a bit wrong and you're like, no, then we're so close to the floor now, it's a little bit less scary if we're actually going to tip all the way over. The falling is something that you have to practice. because it's down is not normally safe. Normally, running away is safe. So down is not safe. So this is something that we need to reteach our body, that you are fine, this is safe. And what we are learning is self-trust, self-belief that you can rely on yourself, that you're going to be okay, and also self-compassion. I need you to be nice to yourself when you realize how difficult this is, because if you get frustrated with yourself, let's imagine a time when you were a bit cross, or someone was a bit cross with you. You say to someone, calm down. Do you remember that advert? Calm down, dear. Does it make them calm down, or does it just make them a bit crosser? Because someone telling you to calm down when you're not calm, it's like fuel to a fire. No thanks very much. That's like patronizing and a bit rude. So trying to speak to yourself when your muscles are not doing what you want them to do, when your brain is like going a million miles an hour and you feel like you're completely out of control, is one of the most difficult things to do. But I also think this is one of the most incredible lessons that you can get from roller skating, is by learning to speak to yourself kindly. And I honestly think that if you are a parent, this is one of the most amazing things that you can do as a role model for a child or a younger person in your life. You might be an auntie, or just mentor younger children, or like teacher, anybody who's got younger people in your life, younger colleagues in your life, that you're going to show that nothing's going to stop you. So age is not a barrier, because it's not. We have had people, our oldest skater who's been here, although she hasn't been this year, is 78. So I challenge you to tell me about your oldest skater. So ours is 78, and she's an absolute joy. She has been on ITV on our behalf as well, but she's incredible. She hadn't skated for over 50 years before she came here, and just said one day, I want to give it a go, Mel. And I was like, okay, great. Do you want some pads? She was like, no, I'll be fine. And we were like, ah. And Emily and I were here. And do you know what? She was fine, but she took it at her own pace, and she was the only person here. Yeah, awesome. She's been to class since, and she's an absolute legend. She's brilliant. You could be that person too, and be helping to dispel the limiting beliefs of people around you in your life by showing and modeling, yes, this is difficult. No, you are not going to give up regardless of how difficult it is. Look at the resilience and determination you're building, and look at how nicely you can be to yourself. Like, how nice when you say, do you know what? I've actually never done this before. I've never actually put a wrist guard on before, and I've done that, and I was able to put it on the right way. I've never actually practiced falling over as an adult before. That's so interesting. No, I've not done that before. I've not actually. I feel a bit silly, but it's okay. So we're going back to our inner child and healing them. Like, I find that this is really healing. And I know roller skating, people come to roller skating for lots of different reasons, but I truly believe that there is so much power in learning to heal the younger wounds that you didn't even know were there, until you choose to step out of your comfort zone and try something completely different. So yes, this is a skills-based curriculum, but it is also very much from a person-centered space, from a trauma-informed space, and it speaks to you physically taking up more room in your life than you would if you were walking. Because we know if we were walking, if our feet were in a row, you're moving like this, and you're very efficient at walking now, so you'll just be able to hurry on by. But when you're roller skating, especially at the beginning, you are probably a bit out of control, and you're having to move like this. Look at how much space I'm physically taking up. It's like the space of 3 people. Yeah? If I had carnival wings on, it's like that amount of space. It's huge. So this is going to feel really, really alien to you in your body, because you're not used to having your arms this wide away from your body. You're used to them being here. You're used to keeping everything in and small. And now I'm saying to you, I need you to take up maximum room. And when you fall over, you're going to have your arms in front of you, and that will feel really uncomfortable. And I know on a previous video, I think I I think I got like a few comments and people were like, you are not talking about this. So this is my opinion of why some people find this difficult. But my opinion is very much based on the ground research by coaching and working with hundreds of people, if not thousands over the years. The people who find it hardest are the people who've been most marginalized, in my opinion. So people who have had not a lot of confidence in their lives, or they've not had opportunities that they've seen to develop confidence. They found it really difficult for lots of ways. And yeah, words are not always going to be my friend this afternoon because my brain is racing versus the words. But anyway, okay. So once we have got rolling, we're rolling. You're wobbling around and you're like, great. Now what? Now what do I do? So next thing we're going to say we can fall over safely. We know to go down and not back. We can move because we know our toes need to be in a V. So the next thing is we now know, okay, this is great. Da, 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 da. Wobble, wobble, wobble. No problemo. Great stuff. Now, I want you to count how many pushes it takes you to get from one space to another in your room. And these need to be fixed points. So if I was going from the lockers at the back of the room over to the counter at the front of the room where this camera is, I want you to count how many pushes, because every time we do a push, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, we're pushing. We're not actually doing any gliding. We're not doing any rolling. And it's the rolling or the glide that is that moment where we can actually breathe. So again, this is to do with regulation. We want to develop a push and glide, not just a push. We want to try and get to that point fairly quickly. So usually by the end of our first session, I would expect most people who followed the process where they've fallen over, they've been on one skate, then the other, then they've had to go with two, to be at this point, if not a little bit beyond. But let's talk you through that now. And again, it's typical, but it's not every single time, okay? So we start with the V position, hands on our knees. It's always going to take a few close together pushes to get you rolling. And we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, now I'm going to put my feet together and I'm just going to roll. Oh, and I'm going to lean 5. Still going. 5. Okay, so I think I did that in 5 today, and it might be because my wheels are a certain size. It might be because I know how the floor works in this room. There's lots and lots of reasons. It might take someone else who has significantly less experience than me. It might take them 12 or even 20 pushes to get across the floor, and that's okay. The feeling of rolling when you're doing nothing is very strange. And it does take some time to get used to. Now, in our space, we have got a very slight tilt on the floor, which we actually really like because it helps with certain skills to develop our muscles, okay? And that is a good thing. Right, so now I would ask people to go practice that. And I would be having a look at how you're doing around the room and reminding you to breathe. I'd be reminding you to touch your knees if you feel like you're getting a little bit out of control. And I'd reminding you to keep wobbling because, again, if we're not doing any wobbling, then we're not going to move. So if your feet are quite close together in a V, you're not actually going anywhere, okay? A little bit nerve-wracking. Let me just have a quick check on the time. Okay, nice. So we're going a wobble. Okay, lovely. Right. So I'm going to leave you to go and do that. I'd also remind people to have a drink of water. And in between all of these things, I ask people to go and stand on a yoga mat, but more likely is I'll actually say to you, please sit down, because we think we can just stand still. It's going to be fine. Let's just stand still on our skates and we're going to wait and we're going to listen for the next instruction and learn about this new movement. that's really not okay, because your muscles are going to be tense, your core is going to be tense. You're actually really trying to keep yourself in an upright position. So if you are going to stand up, I almost don't want to tell you now, but I'm going to tell you. If you are going to stand up, you're going to put your foot, your heel, into the arch of your other foot so that you can stand still. It will kind of lock your wheels together. But really, what I want you to do is sit down and allow your muscles to relax, because they are tense and that is not safe. So I want you to really sit down, take a load off and relax, okay? But as I say, I'm not going to force anyone into anything. So go grab a quick drink of water and then come back shortly. Oh, lovely. We are doing a nice long live today, hopefully. Good stuff. All right. I cannot type this thing in. Oh no. It's not going to let me log in. Right. So the next thing that I want you to learn is a lemon, because we love a lemon. Lemons are a way for you to control your speed, and really foundational move, really incredibly important foundational move. They are so useful for a multitude of things. It will also help to keep you feeling more grounded. Okay, so a lemon, when you can do it, looks like this, where your feet go out and in again. Look how wide my feet go, wider than my hips. And again, not comfortable. Backwards is not today. We'll come back to it another time. I will explain it, but not right this second. Okay, so our feet are going to go out and then back in. Now, if you have never done a lemon before, you are aiming for one lemon, and that is all. Okay, we're going to start with our toes pointing out as we do. Toes pointing out. So if you ever watch my videos, by the way, I will normally edit out the parts where I just skate back into position, just so that you don't get like freaked out by it. But obviously this is live, so you're seeing it all. Okay, toes out. We're going to start with a wobble, because it's actually really hard to do from standing still. And that first wobble is the worst one. It's the one that you need the most activation energy. It feels like you're going to fall over more than anything else. Okay, here we go. Keep breathing. Lovely. And what I need is a soft feeling in my knees. So can you see knees are bouncing? My body is now going up and down. So now I'm transferring the energy from this wobble to more of a bounce. And we talk about this as if you're sitting on a little horse on a merry-go-round that is going up and down. That's what your body is doing. Okay, these are just the cues you need to help to keep your arms and your chest and your shoulders in an upright position, so you're not like all the way down here. And it will just assist you for the future when you're trying to do different things with your lemons. So we start with a penguin, and as soon as we're rolling, we're pushing our heels out and sitting. And as we stand up, we're going to pull our toes back together. Okay, so heels down as we're sitting, and then toes back together. Sorry, I'm just going to do a real quick. Oh no, all of this. Let's do an update there. There's loads of banging upstairs today because, I don't know, they've got the builders in. I I could genuinely do without it. Okay. Right. So here we go. Wobble, wobble, wobble. Knees and back up. Wobble, 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 wobble. Heels out, toes in. So I'm not thinking about heels out, toes in. I know I said that. I'm actually thinking sit on my horse and back up. We've got to bend the knees. And the reason for the little horse is really so that you do actually bend your knees. Because if you think of something a little bit silly, and let's be honest, it's a bit of whimsy. Sitting on a little tiny horse is a bit silly, which I'm here for, by the way. A little bit of joy. Who doesn't need that? Okay, so off we go. Bend and back up. Beautiful, right? Bend and back up. So we're allowing our body to get used to all of these new positions in your own time. This may easily take a couple of sessions, and I would always say less is more at the beginning. Let's put our skates on and have a nice time for like half an hour. It does not need to be a 3-hour marathon, which is potentially what this video will end up being. We shall see. Okay, so it's going to be push back in, push back in. As we want to build up to multiple lemons, which will definitely take longer than one session, we need to bend, and we are transferring our weight from toes to heels. So we bend again. Every time our feet go out, that is when we are bending. I will give you a top tip as well. The wider your feet are at the beginning, that V shape, the wider they are, the more quickly you will go forward. You can just test it for yourself. If you have your feet in a very narrow V, you'll creep forwards not very far. There's not a big shift in your weight. If you're, then you kind of have a middle position and then a really wide position. So just beware of the wide position, because you really will shoot forwards quite quickly. Okay. Again, where are we looking? We're trying to look where we're going. And that means I want to hold on the tiny reins of the tiny horse and just enjoy the fact that I'm sitting on my tiny horse. What's not to enjoy? What's not to enjoy? Right, are we still here? Yes, we are. Just going to nip and actually turn the heating off, because it's now boiling in the studio, because I'm obviously moving and I wasn't before. Okay. Right, let's put you back here. The lemons. Fabulous. Okay. When we want to break, we already know how to go to our knee. So that is one way of getting ourselves to the floor safely. But let's say we wish to stay on our feet. We're going to do what we call a plow stop, which is the widest part of our lemon. And we're going to try and keep our feet wide. Like any kind of break, you are not going to just stop dead. You are going to come to a gradual stop. You're going to slow down. And plow stops, there's lots and lots of technical things that you need to know. So what I would usually do is we'd introduce it with 1 week, and then I'd give you more tips and more tips as we can see that your body understands what to do and you're not having to think about what to do. It's the muscle memory that you need to build up. So if, like anything where you no longer need to think about what to do, like let's say buttoning up something, you don't need to think, okay, I've got to push this through there. And you don't need to think about it. You can just do a button, tying a shoelace, like anything like that. But let's say if you've ever done dance and someone's saying, okay, we've got these steps and then this and then this, you're like, I don't know what we're doing. But then a tune comes on like the Macarena or the Cha-Cha Slide and you think, oh yeah, I know this. And you can just do it from muscle memory without thinking. And you might find, yes, it's a bit cheesy, but you're going to sink into it and enjoy it a little bit more, because actually you don't need to think about the movement and how to perform those movements. You can just kind of go for it. Yes. So it's the same kind of idea. Your body has to learn the movements and assimilate those into your body for itself. That is muscle growth, muscle development, and what I would call somatic memory. Okay, somatic just means body, so it's somatic memory. And it takes time. This is the feet out position is not natural, it's not normal, it's taught, it's learned. So it will take time for your body to go, oh yeah, oh, we're doing that thing again. Okay, the thing where we do swaying and I still don't feel safe, however long that takes. Right. So stopping, we're going to go wobble, wobble, wobble. I like to start with a lemon first, and this time wide, 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 and stop. Let me just adjust this camera down ever so slightly so you can see the feet. Okay, probably chop my head off now, but that's okay. And here we go. So we're going a lemon and wide, 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 wide. Okay, so arms need to be in front of you. Not a dignified stop, this one. Wide, 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 wide. Okay. It doesn't feel good. It feels like you are going to be sweeping people's feet out from around them. If you're in a room with more people, it feels very vulnerable, very exposed, because you are sticking your backside out, and that doesn't feel good. And it might actually feel like you're not ever going to stop. You're just going to keep rolling forwards because you don't fully understand where to put your weight. So all of those things are completely normal, right? So I'm just going to take a minute to finish my tea while it's still warm and sit down for a second just between the sessions, and then we're going to continue with a few more skills, because I have promised to give you a complete program for level 1 today. So I'm hoping that I can get through it before my equipment runs out of batteries and everything else. Like, it should be okay. I think we're all right for a little bit longer. So what we've covered today in an hour would take me, I think, in real life, if I had other people in here that I was actually coaching, it might take me an hour, but it's more likely to take me an hour and a half, because you would have more practice time in there. Yeah, I think it would take a little bit longer. If you're tuning in, I'd love to know if you are already roller skating, if you already know some of this, if you're new to the channel, and if you are new to the channel and you found any of this helpful, I would love it if you could just hit that subscribe button. That would really help me out. And it is your free way of just showing some gratitude for a small business owner. In Leeds, we are a social enterprise. That means that everything that we do in terms of any profit that we make is reinvested into the community, but we actually run this space and we try and run sessions that are funded. We fund ourselves through the shop sales. So in our shop, which is over the other side of Skate Sanctuary over here, this is our shop. It's only a little shop, and we've got a massive collection of wheels that we love. Everything over here is tried and tested. We also build skates, we build boots. We support people with questions about wheels. We've got lots of free resources as well over on our website. And anybody choosing to buy from us is directly supporting our space, and we massively appreciate that. I see Laws Brett Art has joined. Thanks so much. I'm just slurping a tea. I'm back, and I'll be right back. So that is our shop. Okay, let's see if the camera's in about the right place. Yeah, that looks okay. So this is our level 1, absolute beginner, learn to roller skate live session in what I would do how I would support people, actually just our approach, because other coaches that we've trained also use this approach. And in the hundreds of people that we've taught, it does actually really work. Okay, but what is important is that you have both sound and vision today. Hurrah! Okay, so we take what we can. And don't worry, the live will be reposted if you decide you want to join. Yeah, it's fine. And do you know what? You can already skate, so this is, you probably don't really need this. Anyway, so in terms of being compassionate to yourself, I think understanding about your nervous system and how you work is so incredibly important, because anytime you do something new, your body is trying to protect you. As I said, you're trying to protect you from imminent danger / death. That's what your body thinks is happening, because that's how we're wired. That means in your roller skate journey, as you continue and you do your pushing and gliding, you do your penguins, you do your lemons, you learn how to stop, those skills become then within your growth zone. You're like, great, these are now comfort zone. I can do these are comfortable, I don't have to think about them anymore. The muscle memory is there, the actual muscles that you need are there. Fabulous, I can do these now. And again, how long that takes is not specific, any amount of time. It depends on your individual set of life experiences and how you cope with new things. So that is totally individual. I'm not even going to mention a typical time, but it's how long it takes for you. And we're all different, and that's okay. So you start to do this, and then you go, I wonder what happens if I want to try a different skill. What if I want to skate backwards? And then you find again, you're in this position where you're skating backwards and you're overwhelmed again with sudden fear. Your body won't bend, you can't move, your muscles are frozen, like whatever the response is that you had initially, you'll probably experience it again, because you are now going outside of your comfort zone again, back into your growth zone. So this is expansion. You are expanding as a human and choosing to do something new. But because it's on roller skates and you're like, yeah, but I can do the roller skating thing now, you don't necessarily recognize it as new. And that cycle continues over and over and over and over every single time, depending on, again, your kind of, I will say experience level rather than sensitivity level. But essentially, like, depending on the kind of person you are, anytime you change anything, I mean anything, wheels on your boots, the environment that you are in, the people that you are around, the boots, then you start to change your equipment, you get new skates and you're like, oh, this is different again. I can't, wow. Okay, it all changes how you feel. Sometimes even the idea that you're skating around and normally you don't carry something, but then you're carrying something because you're outside. So you've got weight on your back, or you've got a little bum bag on or something like that. It changes how you feel. You're not used to wearing a helmet and suddenly you're like, okay, I'm going to do this different thing. I'm going to wear a helmet. It changes how you feel. So it's a new experience and your body's got to get used to that new experience, which is very unnerving, right? Very unnerving. Therefore, it's okay to find it hard. And that is the self-compassion part coming back into play again. So if you didn't learn it the first time and you just plowed through it and went, oh, I'm so frustrated with myself, I just need to do this anyway, you are going to hit a barrier at some point where there will be a skill, might be spinning, whatever it is, that you go, oh, I can't do this straight. Oh, it's so frustrating, I can't do it. And you do not realize that it might actually take, I kid you not, years to develop that skill. And that's okay, because I believe that anything worthwhile actually will take years of development and refinement to get to a point where it feels pleasing in your body. I'm not saying it's going to take years to feel pleasing about roller skating, right? I love a lemon. That took me about 3 months, I think, 3 to 4 months. of fairly intensive learning, but I think I think I can get a lot of people there quicker by understanding the movement. Don't mind me. It's my casual water alarm. So however you learn, I just want you to have that self-compassion piece. Otherwise, it's going to come back to you and you will have the opportunity again and again and again to have that piece of learning for yourself, that piece of self-awareness. If you choose to ignore it and you're not nice to yourself and you mentally beat yourself up, you're literally denying yourself of joy. But also, I believe that you're less likely to be a skater in the longer term because you're just going to get too frustrated with it. It's really hard. But like I say, I think that anything like learning to do a handstand takes a really long time to figure out all of those muscles. If you have some things that might already help you in terms of stability, or you already like being upside down, that's probably helpful, right? But you might find that there's things that translate in terms of skill and experience, and you might find that nothing translates. But it doesn't matter. You're not out of time. This is not a race. You actually have to give your body time to develop those muscles and grow. You have to. Anytime, let's say you're on some sort of body transformation, you go to the gym, you're like, yeah, I'm going to do this thing and I'm going to get strong. It's usually a 12-week program, usually, because that's how long it takes for muscles to develop to a specific stress in your body. So you have to give your body a reason to grow that muscle. And the reason for growing it is by doing those repeated movements. Oh, and your body goes, right, okay, we're doing this now. No probs. Better build some muscle for that then, yeah? So you've got to feed yourself right. You've got to rest right, which is, again, don't get me started on the 365 challenge. Genuinely not a fan. I think it's actually really unhealthy to do 365 challenges that are based around physical activity. I think a 365 challenge, even let's do a doodle once a day for 365 days and like prove to somebody that we've done that, is hard enough. Blinking journaling, which is supposed to be for yourself, is really hard. But doing something like roller skating as a 365 challenge, as a brand new skater, I actually believe is harmful, right? Because you are not giving yourself any rest and recovery time, which is essential. You are just probably watching other people and then trying to basically consume maximum content and push it all out as output when our bodies are not like that. So what's going to happen, my question is, when there comes a day, and you might manage it for a month, you might manage it for longer, but there will come a day when you cannot skate, where your body demands rest, or you've just pushed it too far, you've got muscle strain and you can't do anything, or you've just got like no opportunity, like maybe you're away from home or something, something's changed and something's different. Are you really going to be that person that's like, if I don't take my skates in hand luggage, I can't complete my 365 challenge? Like, I think it's really easy to lose sight of the bigger picture of why you're doing it and become like beholden to an algorithm somewhere or some people that you've never met on the internet, and really not about that. Okay. So just also, I'm like, essentially, I'm old and I no longer care, but I think just really be cautious as a new skater. The people that might succeed at a 365 challenge, because it is hard on the body, but the people that might succeed would be people who are already skaters, they're already athletes, and they've done some training to prep for a 365 challenge. Probably the 6 months prior, it's like training for a marathon. You've actually increased the amount of skating that you're doing so that you have much more chance of success. And you probably cleared your schedule so that you've got more time for it, right? Anyway, whatever, rant over 365 challenge. Okay, team, what are you saying in the comments? Oh, bless you. Living vicariously through me until the weather improves. I hear you. Nice. Welcome, Angelo, in Brazil. Okay. Let's move on. Next thing that we're going to learn is power development. So I want you to have really good technique, and good technique for me equates to lazy skating. I do really enjoy being extremely lazy and shuffling my feet in a way that I now understand, because I've been skating over 15 years, how to move in a way that's efficient so I can make minimal effort. Very enjoyable. You will not know that yet as a brand new skater. So this exercise is designed to support that. We already did some counting of our steps. So this one, we're going to put our hands on one knee pad. We know where that knee pad is. We can feel it. We do not need to look at it. We are going to look where we are going. If you need to stick a red spot on the wall and stare at that, please do so. Okay. Then with the other leg, I will call it the free leg, we are going to push out to the side and bring it back in, and repeat out to the side and bring it back in. The point of this is we're actually going to try and develop muscle fatigue in one of our legs. And we also understand, because we did that exercise, didn't we, with one roller skate and then the other one to improve our balance, that one leg is stronger than the other. And what we often see when people don't do this is that they'll probably push with one leg and the other leg will be kind of doing all the balancing, or isn't doing a lot. It's not like pulling its weight, as it were. So by putting two hands on one leg, we're isolating one leg to do all the pushing, and it's going to push out to the side and bring it back in, out to the side and bring it back in. And again, and that feels very strange, right? The sideways push, but side is going to bring you maximum power. We are not pushing behind, right? You're going to lose power if you're pushing behind. I actually want you to imagine you're pushing diagonally down into the floor rather than just skimming the surface. And as you push out to the side, you're going to find that your shoulder counterbalances and you lean the other way. So it is, again, we're going to go back to that feeling of falling over, and you might not really like it at the beginning. Whoa, and bring it back in. So your foot might not go out anywhere near as far as mine, and that is okay. So we're pushing out to the side, bring it back in, okay? So what we're practicing now is called our stride. And in order to do a really effective stride, we need to push out to the side, and then we need to recover our foot back in. I am standing on a very tiny slope, by the way, so it is important that my feet are at a tiny angle, otherwise I'm going to roll. Okay, so I'm pushing out to the side and then bringing my foot back in. If I partially recover my foot, so we push out to the side and I recover to here, because this is where my body feels safe. I know if my feet are apart, I'm not going to accidentally kick my wheels together, because I have done that before. And when that has happened before, it has not ended well, because I have accidentally ended up on the floor, not through choice. Okay. So kicking the wheels together, I know, is something that my body does not enjoy. And therefore, I'm going to do everything in my power to prevent that. And that means I'm going to push out and recover, not fully in to here, because at the moment, a very small base where we've got a very tall center of gravity feels not safe. However, if we only do a partial recovery, then my next stride can only be a partial stride. I can't actually push with full power. Yeah, makes sense? So this is the sort of gradual progressive practice, and stride technique is something that speed skaters work on, and that's the only thing they work on, right? Speed skaters are going to work on this to like Olympic standard. So this is, yes, it's a very basic thing, but like simple, not easy. It's a, foundational premise. Basic is the wrong word. It's a simple thing, not easy to do, and it goes to a very, very high level, but like I say, it's not easy to do because your body's going to fight you all the way. So we need to come back to this. And we, as skate school, we will come back to this in level 2, in level 3, in level 4 quite frequently. You'll see it in warm-ups, and people can hold their weight further down. They can push further out. And the longer you stay connected with the floor and understand that principle of like pushing down into the floor, the faster you'll go. And all of that learning in your body, like I say, it's going to take time. So that is a relatively simple, not easy exercise that you can try and do. Just a few minutes, hand on your knee, push out, bring your foot in, push out, bring your foot in. Yeah? Okay. Next. So once we've done that, and then we would normally recap lemons, little plow stop. We do that single leg push just to try and work on our stride technique. So the next thing I'm going to teach you is how to skate backwards. Yay! Which is actually not as hard as you might think. It is hard. Like all these things are hard, but I'm going to say you chose this struggle. I did not choose this. You found me. I very much appreciate you. Okay, so we know feet in a V is the direction that is going to take us forwards. Straight feet takes us nowhere. Therefore, toes in, feet in an A, is going to take you backwards. Okay? Whee! Takes you backwards. It is uncomfortable, right? This position pulls on different muscles in your legs. And most people find that having their heels out and their toes turned in, you kind of end up quite awkwardly with your knees quite straight, your elbows out. You feel like a bit like a weird, I don't know, a weird chicken. I enjoy disco chicken as one of my go-to roller dance moves. But anyway, just saying. Okay, so this toes in position is very uncomfortable. But when your legs are straight, I've got space between my legs. When your heels are in, I've got space between my legs. When my knees are in, I've got space between my legs. When I bend my knees can touch. I can feel my knees touching. So I still don't need to look at my feet, unhelpful for balance. I can look down and I can, I'm not looking down. When I bend my knees, I can feel my knees touching. When my knees are straight, they are not touching. Bend, straight, bend, straight. Okay. Now we can do one of two things, but you'll normally need to do a wobble to start going backwards. And the very first time we do it, I'm literally just going to allow my feet to roll back to a straight position. Our body is constantly trying to roll to a straight position because that's its relaxed position. So when we put a twist on it, wherever that is, however that looks, we are going to try and roll back to a straight position, a relaxed position. So toes in, heels out, bend, wobble, just to get you going, and then I'm going to allow my feet to roll out. So I'm doing the reverse of the lemon. Think tiny horse and merry-go-round, woohoo, in reverse. Okay. As I feel more confident and braver, I can start to pull my heels back in. Oh. And again, we don't want to make our heels touch. So you will find that your body stops you before that happens. Now, this part is hard to get, and I often see people like trying to push off a wall. So I want you to try and find this kind of biting point, as it were, like when you were driving, without pushing off furniture. We're trying to find that sway and roll back. If you can't do a lemon forwards, please go back and work on that for a little bit longer first. And if you get too wide and you're like, I'm stuck, hands on your knees, swing your hips and bring yourself back in. Okay, if you've never done this before, it is hard and it's a bit scarier because you do not have eyes in the back of your head. So in our studio, we've got mirrors and people will often do this going away from the mirror so they do not have to mess with their balance and they can see what's behind them, right? So when you can do it more confidently, you can roll back and bring your feet in. Then we start to link. And the bounce, again, as your feet are going wide, you're sinking. So the same as forwards. When your feet are going wide, you're sinking. When your feet are going wide, you're sinking. So feet are going wide, bring them in, wide and in. Okay, so backwards takes practice. I tell you what took practice for me then was to not look over my shoulder, because I'm so conditioned now to looking over my shoulder. Now, if you're in a more public space, yes, you probably do need to look over your shoulder, or you need to pick a quiet space. Could be actually in the middle, or it could be in a corner somewhere where you can safely not to look over your shoulder. It might be next to, I don't know, next to the side. I don't know where it might be. It depends on your space. But as much as possible, pick somewhere a bit quiet if you're doing this for the first time. When you're ready to start looking, instead of having my hands in front of me, I'm just going to bring one hand to my waist, to my side. Sorry, just open it out. And it's that movement is actually allowing this shoulder to also tilt and open out. And now I can start like glancing over that shoulder. As I get more comfortable with this position, I'm going to start taking this hand a little bit behind me and stretching my arms out just a bit more. This is going to help to keep me more balanced, okay? And it's going to keep my body a bit more upright. So I'm not tipped too far forward, and I'm definitely not tipped backwards. So one forwards, one backwards. I'm still going to mostly keep my vision forwards, but every now and again, I can start to have a quick look over my shoulder. It might mean that nothing happens with my feet and I literally stop, because remember when we were talking about how we can't hold lots of things in our brain at the same time, we can only do one thing at a time. So my feet might just be not doing a lot apart from I can start, and then I have a glance because my brain is thinking about looking. So what I'm thinking of doing is I'm looking down my arm at my fingers. So wherever my fingers are, that's where I'm looking, okay? If I have my arms higher at shoulder height, it's actually easier to keep my upper body up than down here. But this will just feel really weird for you right now. And let's imagine like figure skaters, ice skaters, you'll see them doing this. They're actually controlling their shoulders by where their arms are, okay? And as we continue, and as you look at more videos, you'll probably notice that I talk a lot about arms and shoulders. In fact, I made a video the other day that was all about arms and shoulders and how essential they are in skating, okay? Woo. So our backwards direction. Once we can do a little bit of backwards, or you're thinking, right, I can do a bit of backwards now, I can do some forwards, we can then start to link those two movements and turn around. Because what we don't want forever is for you to go, right, let's do some backwards. Oh, I'm fed up with that now. Right, I'm going to just turn around. Okay, great. I'm going to go forwards again. Oh, I want to try backwards again. Right, okay, turn around. And so you can do lots of little steps, shift your weight from side to side. When you're completely stationary, you can do lots of little steps and turn yourself around. But actually, I want you to be able to do that more smoothly without having to completely stop. So when we begin this, I might actually go and grab my mat again. You know me and mats, I do love a good mat. But for now, I'm a bit worried that I'm going to run out of time. And there's like 2 more things that I want to do. So I'm not going to grab the mat. But let's say we've got to here. We can do this now. What we're going to do is step this leg that way. So same arm, same leg. Arm is already there. And then I'm going to bend and push and step. So now I'm in the middle in my V position. And now I'm going to lean my weight onto this leg and I go 1, 2, 3, step in. Oh, yes. Okay. So we're taking 2 steps. When I'm practicing this rolling for the first time, which might be completely inconceivable to you right now if you are not there yet, because remember, this video is aimed at people who are absolute beginners, level 1 skaters. That's okay. You do not have to practice this right now. In fact, you might feel safer to practice this on a mat or in your shoes. But you're going to go backwards ever so slowly. One arm will be behind you and all of your weight will be on the other leg so that you can bounce and push this one. And we're going a 1, 2, 3, up, down. Now you might notice my feet are not in a straight line, and that is okay. I can still turn around. It's normal. So then I'm going to go lean onto the other leg. So because I'm going forwards now, that's the direction that I feel more confident in. 1, 2, 3, and in. Okay, I'm going to do it coming towards you. I've got one arm behind me. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, step, and step in. So what is incredibly important with our transition, turning around, is that when I take that step, I'm then going to really lean onto this leg and step in. And what I sometimes say to people is, I'm a visual learner, okay? So I want you to do all of the imagining with me. It's just, let's say you are skating in the park, it's delightful, it's the summer, you're on a smooth path, you're enjoying yourself, we're chilling out, we're doing all the skating backwards, and then suddenly somebody shouts tree branch at you. You're like, what? Wait, what? And out of nowhere, I mean nowhere, across the path, there's a tree branch and you have to duck to get under it. The action of that, the ducking, is going to make you bend and put all of your weight on that leg. So can you see the difference about where my weight is? And that makes the second step in easy peasy. If you do not bend enough on that first step, the second step is really hard. So it's all about, there are 2 steps, you must bend on the first step, okay? I'm going to show you a couple more so that you can see. It doesn't matter which leg you turn over either, but whichever arm is behind you, that is the one that you are going to step with, okay? Sometimes I will see people with an arm behind them, and I should be stepping with this leg because that's the same arm, and instead they'll step with the other leg and they'll go round on themselves like that. And that's one step. I've taken one step to turn around. It is risky, right? It may pay off some of the time, but quite likely, because it's a 1-foot pivot, you won't have the control yet to understand what's going on with that and how to land it. So you might fluke it a few times and then like, I don't know how to repeat this, and end up falling over a lot. So I would always suggest when you're learning that you get a really solid 2-foot step turn, step transition. Some people will call this the open the book transition, close the book, open the book, close the book. I like the pages to already be open at the top, like you're peeling the layers open, and have those hands set up where you want to go. So your shoulders are already in the right position, then step and bring it in. So that you're doing the same transition, but it's a little bit more gradual. As you become accustomed to that position, then absolutely feel free to speed it up, but it will always be more fluid and you'll stand more confidently if you can get your shoulders to the position you need to before you put the rest of your body there. The rest of you will like right yourself to your shoulders, okay? If in the future, if you're watching this and you're not watching the live, feel free to drop any comments down in the chat or comment on the video, and I will be more than happy to answer those at the right time. Let's just grab a quick drink, and I think we've just got time for the final thing. We've got enough battery. Okay, we've got enough battery in the machine. Hooray. Let's put you back there. Okay. So final thing that we're going to work on today in our level 1 is how do we turn, like how do we go round a room, turn a corner? So often what happens is you're like, yes, great, I can do some skating. Now I want to go over there. I'm going to skate round. I don't know how to get over there because my feet are pointed this way and I just don't know. I'm a bit stuck, right? So at the very beginning, we talked about the 2 rules of roller skating, which are bend your knees, look where you're going, and how difficult they are. Remember, it's always difficult, okay? Always difficult. It's training. So bend your knees, look where you're going. If I want to go over there, I actually just need to look over there, and that's going to start to tilt my shoulders to that direction. If I want to force it a little bit more, like we did with our stepping backwards and our transition, I'm going to point over there, and you see how that's actually turned my shoulders over there. This isn't a natural position, because now that I've twisted my body over there, I can feel that the muscles in my sides are all engaged. I'm actually fighting my hips as well. My hips want to turn so that they're this way, so that my body is back into that resting alignment, the relaxed, where everything is, you're facing the same way. Okay. By twisting my shoulders, it's not all in the same plane, right? The plane this way. It's in a different one. So if I hold my shoulders in that position, what will happen as I'm rolling is the rest of my body will right itself so that it is facing that way. Okay. And it sounds simple. Again, I think the catchphrase for this video, simple, not easy. But let's say we're going around this corner, we're going this way. You do need to be rolling. And if you're not rolling enough, it will be much harder. The challenge when you're learning to roller skate is you need a little bit of speed, but it feels like you're out of your comfort zone and out of control. So as I'm skating round, I'm going to point over there, just keep my knees bent. Yes. Okay. What tends to happen is that you will either not believe it's going to work, or you'll panic and forget what you were doing, right? Both, again, very common responses. So I'm like, yes, I'm pointing over there, I'm pointing over there. Oh, it's not working, it's not working. Oh my goodness. Do you see how it didn't work? Because I did not keep my shoulders where I wanted to go. So I want you to really pick something, look at a spot, pick something that is over in the direction where you want to go. A little landmark, it could be a blob of paint, it could be whatever you want it to be, something on the wall, a picture, and you are going to point at that thing and really keep your eyes fixed on the thing and your finger pointing at the thing. And I need you to point across your body, because if you point with the other hand, it does nothing to turn your shoulders. So you need to point across your body, whichever direction you're going, right? I happen to be going that way. So I'm going to use this arm. Here we go. So I'm going to point across there and I'm going to stare at the thing. I'm looking at a notice on my door. Stare, 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 stare. Ta-da! Lovely. So that's how we go around a corner. I know that you want to learn how to do a crossover, which is this. That, my friend, is level 2 and beyond. Like level 2, level 3, level 4 is where we would start to do crossovers and keep pushing on. So we've literally covered our entire level 1 curriculum in an hour and a half, I think, today. In real life, it would definitely take you longer than that to do, because a lot of the work that we do is also around dismantling those limiting beliefs and your mindset so that you can be really successful in your roller skate journey and you're not constantly self-sabotaging. That's really important. I am now going to take my skates off because I've got someone coming in shortly for a little skate fitting, which is pretty exciting. The final thing I'm going to say is it should be fun. It should be a balance between thrilling and fun. And as you develop experience, your confidence will go up and down. But usually, as you develop experience, your confidence will grow. You'll start to feel more relaxed. You'll be like, yes, this feels great. I can totally do this. But then, because at the very beginning of your skate journey as a level 1 skater, you do not have very much experience, you will remember what it feels like at the end of your session when you could do the skating, you're like, yes, I can do this. I can, like, yes. You'll hang on to that feeling and you'll come back again for your second, third, fourth, whatever it is, session. And because you may not have your own skates yet, you may be using rentals. If you've got somebody near you that is offering sessions or a space that you can go to. But if your experience is like an hour a week, that's very, very little experience. So your body does not remember. Your body, the first time you stop roller skating, is relieved. Thank goodness we've stopped this, right? And your brain is like, yes, we can do it. We're done, right? Your brain, like, very logical, you've figured out that you're fine, but your body is relieved. The second time, third time, fourth time, you come back to this, you put your skates on, your brain is like, yes, I'm ready. I'm going to go do my lemons. I'm going to do all these things. And your body is like, hey, wait, what? Thought we had scared them enough last time that we didn't need to come back here again and do this activity again. Yet here we are, apparently falling over again. So what we tend to suggest to people, I mean, actually, it's suggestion, right? I can't force you to do anything. You are where you are. Nothing is forced, but it's always suggestion. Is the first thing you need to do is relax. How do you relax? Trust your pads, know how to fall safely. So even a couple of just a little bit of falling practice, putting the tray down, is actually going to massively help calm your body so that you know how to fall. And that's usually enough for you to go, yeah, okay, right, yep, these pads again, sweet. Now we can rebuild. And I would actually recap all of those skills, and we do. So in our 6-week level 1 course, where we do introduce some of the level 2 skills, we very much recap all the skills every week, because we also know we are all human, and we've had different levels of sleep and not sleep, and different stresses in our lives, like with jobs and with, all of the things. And therefore, how you feel, your emotional state from week to week might not be the same. So your output, your energy reserves probably won't be the same. If you are not feeling very self-compassionate yet, you just won't understand that. You won't give yourself any kind of grace for that, and you'll just be extra hard on yourself at a point where you're depleted. And that's one of the least helpful things you could do. So yeah, that's all I got to say about that, is just be kind to yourself, because it's already so difficult. And I hope you found this video helpful. Like, complete level 1 course. I hope it was useful for you. And like I say, I would love a bit of feedback if there's anything else you'd like to include. Our level 2 includes a recap of the level 1 skills, and then we go into a lot more depth on how to do more transitions, how to skate backwards a little bit more fluidly and fluently, and an embedding of those core skills. So lemons, we would start to, how do we speed them up and slow them down? I did drop in a few little nuggets that we would have in level 2 as well, that might not make any sense at level 1, which is why we have to keep going back over and over these skills. And then we might introduce like some tricks at level 2. We'd expect you to be able to do things like you would feel safe to put your roller skates on and your pads on, and you'd be able to skate around. You might be able to do like a lemon, 2 lemons in a row, and you'd be like, yeah, cool, I can do this a little bit. And we might still need to introduce it for you, but your body gets what it's doing. That's okay. And then level 3 is like consolidation of level 2 skills and extension. And it's more about introducing you to now new environments. So we'll start going outside. There will be more roller dance. It is introduced at level 2. For us in our curriculum, it's like structured in a way that we do a very introductory thing at level 2. Level 3 is more like the deep exploration, and like now pushing yourself a little bit more out of your comfort zone. So more, I'd say, intermediate skaters, and often, not always, people will have been skating somewhere between like 6 months, 18 months, it could be 2 years. And they'll like I say, everyone learns at different paces, and our courage muscle is the one that is going to be the one that you decide where you're going to go. Then for us, level 4 is, and level 4 currently is like our top level, is advanced skaters, and we do lots of challenging things. Like it will be skating down hills quickly, more outdoor skates, more exploration, like more skate park, things that are riskier, things that where you need to already know how to fall safely. So all of that is possible. I do have online courses, so if you've enjoyed this, you don't need the level 1, but if you want a little bit more of level 2 and you want the troubleshooting parts of like, why is this not working, this is not working, I'll come back and do level 2 at some point. But the nice already packaged up modules are already on our website in the online courses bar. It's a foundation accelerator course because it will get you those fundamental core skills quicker. And then last summer I made a brand new course that was a level up and find your flow, which was all about introducing core roller dance skills, freestyle skills, like just movement for people who are not movement practitioners, which I was not until I started learning to roller skate. And I didn't think that I was going to be, but the journey and the path that it's taken me on is in helping people find a deeper understanding of their body, their mind, and being compassionate, and how I can help you to not spend 10 years of doing the work, but actually here are the little shortcut tips and tricks that are going to get you there quicker. If you know how to put your foot in this position, if you know how to deal with anxiety, and you know that's normal, if you know that spinning might take 5 years for you to do something that feels like you've achieved a spinning thing, then I would like to help you to do that. So if that's something that interests you, then go check out our website. The link is in the bio. But otherwise, I'm heading out for today. Thanks, folks. Thanks for watching. My name's Mel. And if you wish to support us in any way, shape, or form, just hit that subscribe button because that is enough. But any recommendations about supporting our shop would be highly welcome. And if you are ever in the area and you wish to visit Leeds, come and say, hey, Mel, I am one of your YouTube subscribers. Maybe I'll even make you a cup of tea if I'm here. Alrighty, righty. See you later. Bye-bye.